Hello, I'm going to talk with you about the research paper checklist and the grading rubric so that you know that your research paper is going to be off the charts. I am going to take a look at your rough drafts and I'll give you a little bit of feedback there, but you also should be able to take a look at your paper and say, oh, here's where I can make some improvements. So feel free to be editing already. Okay, so anyway, here is this research paper checklist. Look, it is another assignment worth 100 points. It might have been hard for you to catch this in the online classroom, especially if you didn't open everything, but the whole paper itself is worth 1,000 points. And some of the points along the way have been easier to get than others. You know, make an outline, make a works cited page, and then the presentation. Most people think that that's not that big of a deal. And this checklist is both helpful and not a huge deal. So let's just take a look at it. You do need to complete this checklist. I'm going to put it in Word format into the shell so that you can type on it or print it, whatever you want to do. If you do decide to print it, you can just take a snapshot of it with your phone and I always just email stuff to myself and then save the images from my email, and then I can upload it to the Moodle classroom really easily. But anyway, here we go. Okay, so your name, and yes, there's going to be a tutor's name. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so here is the checklist. These are all the things about how to MLA format your paper that I have been talking about forever. And I'm just going to say on the black ink, it is required, but every once in a while, a hyperlink on your works cited page turns blue. Don't freak out about that. That won't be a deal breaker for me. But all of this extra stuff is definitely, I'm going to look for it. Okay, and then we've talked about your introduction already. So there is no one who is saying in this paper, you're going to learn, or after you read my paper, you should be able to. None of that. We write in third person. We don't talk to the reader. So this is a reminder that we're not going to be talking to the reader. Then we go into the body of the paper. And of course, that's where you begin your paragraphs with a topic sentence. You transition from one paragraph to the next throughout the paper, and you incorporate your sources by summarizing, paraphrasing, or direct quotes throughout the body of your paper. And then, of course, we've got the internal citing of your sources. And so your research paper is going to have an internal citation. That means within the paper, throughout the paper. It should show up in every single paragraph that you are incorporating a source. And so we know that we have at least 5 sources on our works cited page. And so all 5 need to show up somewhere in your paper. And notice here, if I paraphrase my source written by Davis and the information I'm paraphrasing comes off from page 19, I type up a paragraph where I'm paraphrasing information. And then at the end of it, I'll put this open parenthesis, Davis 19, close parenthesis, period. The 19 means page number. There's no P in between. It's just the last name of the author and space 19. Okay, and then every time you use somebody else's information, you must give credit to the author, where you got it from, the website, the author, the book. Okay, every paragraph should have at least one direct quote, but a direct quote doesn't have to be like a great big sentence. And some people misunderstand direct quote. A direct quote means words lifted from my source and inserting them into my paper. It does not have to be somebody talking. And again, it can just be 3 or 4 words that I pick up from my source and plug it in to the middle of my own sentence. But then, of course, at the end of that sentence, we provide one of these. And just to backtrack a little, if you don't know the page number, you just don't use it. Okay, coming on down, here's our conclusion. This is where you're going to wrap things up, tie up loose ends. You don't introduce anything new. you just bring the reader to a sense of completion. The conclusion is usually the shortest of the paragraphs. Okay, none of this. In this paper, you have learned, or now that you've read this paper, none of that should show up in your conclusion. Okay, here's some thoughts about your works cited page. Remember, they're all alphabetized according to the author's last name. If there's not an author, you go to the next source item, which would be like the title of the article, and you progress like that. The entries are not numbered. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are double spaced. There's not extra spaces between. Entries should be formatted with a hanging indent. And remember, you have to have at least 3 sources from the TC databases. That shows up a couple times on this paper, I think. Okay, here are some writing conventions. This talks about you have proofread your paper and edited it, and you believe that it's nearly error-free. Here are some common mistakes. A subject-verb agreement is when my subject is individuals has many choices. Of course, we would use a plural verb with a plural noun. So we'll check for that. We'll make sure we don't use any slang language. I'm not gonna be doing anything. I'm not fixing to do anything. And of course, no double negatives. There are not no double negatives in your paper. We don't use contractions. I know that that sounds weird, but it is academic voice. And then you also don't use second person narration. You don't use the words you, your, yours, unless it's part of a direct quote. Okay, avoid run-ons. I won't go over that. These items right here, we have discussed in our grammar labs. And if you have used those to your benefit, then you know all about this. Okay, so anyway, you make sure your spelling is good. You make sure you use the right word and didn't use the wrong word. And then once again, you have a minimum. I cannot grade this paper unless it's at least 4 full pages, but we want it to be 5 to 7 pages long. Okay, not including the word cited. The work cited shows up after the entire paper. Okay, so I take this piece of paper and I print it. A lot of things can happen here. I have a friend who teaches school, so I'm going to have her look over my paper and sign this for me. Or somebody that I know is a really good writer. That can happen for you. And just so you know, this Grammarly doesn't like my abbreviations or that I've ended sentences without punctuation. So don't worry about the red stuff. You won't see it on your paper. Okay, so let's just say that I don't know anybody who is a tutor that can look at my stuff. So no worries. I'm going to go ahead and open my TC. I wonder if I had it open already. Let me see. I absolutely did. Okay, so here I am in my TC. And of course, I'm going to scroll down the left-hand side and click on library. When I arrive at the library, this is their homepage always. Every once in a while, they put a big old announcement in here. So just keep scrolling. I scroll down. Here I am in all the options for the library. This is a fun one, instruction videos and tutorials to help you understand how to use things in the library. But this is the one we like right here, tutoring and library appointments. Okay, you open this bad boy up and you can view the hours. If you're taking anatomy and physiology, here's an interactive human anatomy, but that's not about us. We're going to schedule an appointment to have a writing tutor look over our paper for us, offer us some suggestions. And it's just such a good idea. So there are lots of people who help with this. And sometimes it says request someone if you'd like to. You might request someone that you know. All of these people are great. I taught Jennifer Medina. She's awesome. good with English for sure. I know of Sarah Lynch. I've heard she's a wonderful writer as well. Rachel Fulton, she says she's just algebra, calculus, and biology, but this little girl is a great writer. I had her in 2 of my previous classes. Kendra Smith, also really great writer. So these are some great options for you. Now you can set up a Teams meeting. You can say, I need an online tutor. And when that happens, they'll send you and the tutor will agree on a time. They'll send you a link, and then you'll open that link up, and there will be your tutorial. They'll look at your paper and give you, and if that happens, they can send you an email so that you can forward that to me. All right, last thing I want to show you. Here we have this research paper grading rubric, and I'm going to bring it over here. Oh, I got halfway here and then dropped it. Okay, so check it out. It's 2 pages long. You want to stay in the excellent column all the way down, and you will ace your paper. You will get all 300 points for your paper. It basically talks about the paper itself. It's got the intro, the conclusion, the body. All the body paragraphs have sources in them. The sources are good, and you've incorporated them well into your writing. It's organized great. The tone is academic, so perfect. Then we come over here, the references and resources that we've made throughout our paper, really tight. We've done it well. Our citations look good. Our quoting and paraphrasing is cited, and it looks good. So we've got all that going on. Here is grammar, spelling, writing, and mechanics. So all of that looks good. Use of MLA style. And then here is just the final paper. And it is worth 300 points. And just so you know, it's 100 for writing the paper, 100 for grammar, writing, and mechanics, 100 for MLA use throughout your paper and on the works cited page. That's how those are broken up. Okay, this rubric and the paper that I just shared with us on, what was that one? The research paper checklist. Are going to be put into the Moodle right away. And so please let me know if you have any more questions. I'm so happy to help you, and have a great day.